right, number 1, table, graph, equation, verbal description. Find one of each or create your own for linear functions, then create the other 3 representations to match. Write a sentence or two to explain how the representations are connected for each set. So what you're going to do is you are going to, let's start back off, find one of each. Find one of each or create your own. So we're going to start off by finding a table. And what does a table look like? X, Y. So you can do a Google search of a table, and it does need to be linear. What does linear mean? Linear means that it is going to make a line, a straight line, no curve. You can create your own if you would like in Desmos. So remember that you do have access to Desmos, and you can do snapshots of your screens and include those. Or you can do snippets. If you're using Desmos.com, you can have that on your computer so that you don't have to go back and forth. That might be easier. I don't think they have a test mode on Desmos.com on the internet, but that is okay for this activity. That is perfectly acceptable. All right, so again, you want to make it linear, so that means it's going to be a line whenever you plot your dots. Okay, so you're going to need to make a table. Then it says to create the other representations to match. So for the one where you made a table, now you're going to graph it, and I actually kind of already did that. And again, if you're using Desmos.com, it's going to do that together. So you just need to snippet that graph. You're going to come up with an equation. So how do we ask Desmos to do an equation from the table? Remember, you can use the Y1 worm. And the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. So you're going to need to change that equation a little bit to ask Desmos to do your Y1 worm, because remember, we changed this piece, and you also need to change that piece because your table actually says little ones, little ones. You need to include those little ones. And then it says to do a verbal description. So this is where you would make up like a word problem, and some things that might help you with that is remember that B is like your beginning number. This is your y-intercept. So in the situation that you come up with, whatever you're talking about, items or cost of things, this is your beginning number of items or beginning number of cost of things or something to that effect. And then your M is going to be your slope. This is going to be with that X value, and remember that's like showing you for each. This is where we found the word per a lot at the beginning of the year, and we still talked about it. So in your word problem, you would need to talk about how much it is per item, or the next time you do something, how many more items you get every time you move forward. So I think cost might be the best for this one. Then it says that you're going to do that for each of the things. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to start off with a graph. So this time you're going to create a graph, and then you're going to do a table, an equation, and a verbal description starting from your graph. So you're going to have a whole set of those. Then you're going to go and you're going to start with an equation. So for the next thing, you're going to start with an equation, and you can use what we talked about up here. And you're going to show the table, the graph, and the verbal description. And then for the last piece, you're going to start with your, that's still kind of the same color. Let me switch so we can see better. You're going to start with your verbal description. This is where you can start with a linear word problem. And again, you guys are welcome to search Google, and you can actually literally type in linear word problem or linear verbal word problem. You can maybe even try to use those words to help you do your search. After that, you're going to create a table, a graph, and an equation. And I would actually probably go in the other order. I would do verbal to equation maybe next. And then once you hit equation, you can use your Desmos and you can change your equation to a table. And once you type in your equation, it would also graph it for you, and you can take your snippets. If I haven't mentioned it before, I will have a snippet or a screenshot helpful guide posted on my Google Classroom. Again, while we're all learning, if you don't know how to do something that supports the math, let me know, please, and I will try to help you with how you can represent what you're doing by using screenshots or whatever. Okay, number 2. Lines in the real world. Take or draw 3 pictures of household items. Then highlight or draw a straight line you see. Then identify if the line has a positive, negative, 0, or undefined slope. Then write a possible equation to represent the line. So again, you're going to need to take or draw pictures. If you take a picture and it's not using your computer, you can email it to yourself or save it to your Google Drive, and then you can insert that picture to the document where we want to see proof of what you're doing. Down here when it says identify if the line has a positive, negative, 0, or undefined slope, we can remember Mr. Slopeface. Remember Mr. Slopeface? As the line goes this way, it's a positive slope from the left or going up. The other one's a negative slope. If we curl it around and make his nose, that's the U for undefined. And he's got some drool coming in, that's our Z for 0 slope. So there's Mr. Slopeface. And then write a possible equation to represent the line. So again, you're fitting y equals mx plus b. And I'm not sure if you would just put a grid behind this so that you could actually get some numbers. And then b is going to be where you begin. That's your y-intercept. Question number 3. Find a real-world example of when a linear, quadratic, and exponential equation or graph could be used to explain a set of data. So linear is going to be a line, quadratic is going to be that parabola, and exponentials like our hockey stick. There's lots of hockey stick information going on right now to explain data that's being given around the world. You do not have to use current information. You can look up other things, and that would also be okay. This is something that, again, you can search on Google, and you can actually type in these keywords. And I might not do them all at the same time. I might do them individually, and then just kind of either take screenshots or type out a brief description of what you did.